When Jesus is meeting with his disciples and talking with them, he is constantly trying to raise their eyes and help them to see greater things. He's constantly encouraging them to look beyond the material, the physical that was right there in front of them, and see what God was doing in even greater ways than the transformation of a kernel of corn into a stalk and ears of corn. God was doing great and mighty things in the world, and you need sometimes to have your eyes open to see that which God is doing. Here Jesus had a conversation with this woman, a woman of some disrepute within the community. We've seen that she was ostracized from the community. She was there at the well at noon, which is not a time when you go to get water. You go in the morning, or you go in the evening. And then further, there was water in the town. She didn't have to come out to this well to get water. So probably she was ostracized from particularly the women in the town because of her lifestyle, the husbands that she's had. There are probably a few women who were quite upset with her. And so she was kind of a complicated woman. And we saw that as Jesus interacted with her, she was rather prickly. She had many objections to raise up. She was kind of defensive and trying to look at different things. But in the course of the conversation, the light began to turn on within her heart. And she began to see that this Jew who was sitting there in front of her, hungry and tired and thirsty, probably a little bit dusty and dirty, this Jew was more than just like any of the other rabbis or Pharisees or just ordinary men who had come passing through. First, he struck up a conversation with her, which was very unusual. And then second, he asked her for water. Very unusual. Well, if any of those is the case, you don't have the Christ who revealed himself to this woman as one who would, as they would confess at the end here, would be the Savior of the world. We need one who is truly man, truly human, with all our strengths and weaknesses and faculties and so forth. He was a real man, and in that humanity, he would lay down his life as a sacrifice for sin. He would also need to be fully God, so that his death on the cross would not merely atone for his own sin, or perhaps for one or two others, but it would be sufficient to save the world, as John reports it here. And so it would have to have an infinite value to it. And so when we consider Jesus here talking with this woman, he is fully man, so much so that the disciples might have thought that he had a romantic interest. Not that he had it, but he was enough of a man that they could consider such a thing. And then he's certainly fully God.